The changing night sky. Has anyone ever pointed out a constellation to you? A constellation is a group of stars that people have named. The stars are usually in a pattern that suggests the shape of something else. The Big Dipper, for example, looks a little bit like the outline of a huge spoon in the sky. Like that. Upside down spoon. Okay. If you look up at a clear night sky pretty often, you may realize something interesting. The constellations you can see change over time. The constellations you can see at any given time depends on where you are on Earth and what part of year it is. Furthermore, a constellation's position in the sky depends on the time of night. What's behind these mysterious changes? The constellations move across the sky throughout the night because of the movement of the Earth. Like the Sun, distant stars appear to rise and set in the sky because of Earth's rotation. Earth rotates from west to east on its axis, or in a counterclockwise direction. This means that the whole sky, including the constellations, appears to rise from east to west. Throughout the night, as Earth rotates, the stars continue to move across the sky. This means that if you looked at a constellation at 10 p.m., then looked at it again at 3 a.m., it would have moved to the west in the sky. Earth's position in its orbit around the Sun also determines which constellations we can see. As Earth moves around the Sun, different constellations can be seen during different parts of the year. That's because during the summer, you are seeing a different part of space at nighttime than you see during the winter. Some constellations can only be seen during a specific part of the year. For example, the Taurus constellation can only be seen in the night sky of the northern hemisphere, or the northern half of Earth, from November to March. The rest of the year, the northern hemisphere faces away from the part of space where Taurus is during the night. Some constellations can be seen from the same spot on Earth throughout the year. These constellations are called circumpolar constellations. The Big Dipper is one example of a circumpolar constellation. If you live in the northern hemisphere, the location of the Big Dipper in the sky changes throughout the year, but the constellation never disappears completely. If you found the Big Dipper in the sky during a fall night, it would be near the horizon to the north. But if you looked for the Big Dipper during a spring night, you would have to look straight up. This is because the Earth is in a different position relative to the constellation, since it's at a different spot in its orbit around the Sun. So the next time you go stargazing, remember to savor the moment. As long as the Earth keeps moving, that same view of the constellations will not last.